Hare Krishna and welcome everyone to our weekly Bhagavad Gita session. Hare Krishna. So we've as you know this group we have completed 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, and what now we will do is we will take a deep dive. We've done a very high level study of Bhagavad Gita over 18 sessions. Bhagavad Gita has a lot more to offer. It's much more deeper study is actually required in order to understand Bhagavad Gita properly. So that, of course, the reason why we want to understand because we want to apply. We want to try if it is knowledge, if it has any utility. We want to make sure that we apply, use this knowledge in living our life and should get benefit out of it. So with this core objective, we've studied Bhagavad Gita at a very high level. Now we will take a deep we'll do a little deep dive into different concepts that Bhagavad Gita speaks about, different themes that are present in Bhagavad Gita. A theme is a series of verses on a particular topic that Krishna would have spoken. There are many. Today we'll be talking about the science of soul. The soul is the concept that Krishna introduced in the chapter 2, beginning of chapter 2 itself, and that is been elaborated throughout Bhagavad Gita. We'll not look at all those verses which talks about soul per se, and but we'll take a deep dive as to uh, how scientifically, how logically, how best we can understand who we are really, and how it can be helpful to us. Why it is important to know who we are, how we can understand who we are in a rational, logical way, and what benefit that it can offer to us as we conduct our life in a day-to-day basis. So, with this, let's jump right into the topic for today, science of soul. We'll continue to refer to Bhagavad Gita verses, and at different places we will go deep into the purports written by Srila Prabhupada as well. But let's look at the background. Let's look at where we are at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Where we are on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. We are somewhere in North India, near Hastinapur, near Delhi, and there the two armies have assembled uh, on the battlefield with a desire to fight. One is Kaurava army led by none other than Dronacharya and Bhishmacharya, the two great warriors, practically unbeatable warriors. They couldn't be beat. There was no parallel to them in the warrior. There's no parallel warrior to them, and they were practically undefeatable, unbeatable. And then there are 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. The eldest one was Duryodhan, Dushasan, and the others. So they had a very formidable, huge army on their side, and on the other side, uh, Pandava army was much smaller in size, and they had lesser number of Maharathis and Atirathis, predominantly led by Pandavas themselves, the five brothers, the Yudhishthir, Bhim, Arjun, Nakul, Sahdev, and some other kings who decided to side on their fight this battle on their side because they thought they were righteous. And so this is the scene. This is the scene where we are in the middle of this battlefield where Krishna is present. Purna Purushottam Bhagavan Sri Krishna present hai not as another warrior but as a chariot driver for Arjuna. एक उत्तम रथ है जो सूर्य देव ने दिया था, उसके ऊपर कपिध्वजा है, हनुमान जी बैठे हैं, एंड भगवान स्वयं बैठे हैं, और एज घोड़ों की लगाम उनके हाथ में है, और अर्जुन विराजमान है एज अ वॉरियर. Arjun, before the war could start, Arjun request Krishna to drive his chariot in between two armies, because now he wanted to take a final look at both armies. Both people from both sides he was aware of. He knew a lot of them, and he wanted to take a final look at all of them, because this is going to be a fatal battle. It's not a trial of arm just to show who is superior in skills of archery. No, this could have been, this will lead into a disaster. This will lead into killing, a massive killing of people. So Arjuna wanted to be sure of whom he is fighting this war against, and hence he requested Krishna to drive his chariot right in between two armies. Krishna very tactfully did not stop in front of Duryodhan or Dushasan, but he went, took this chariot and stopped right in front of Bhishma and Drona. Now Arjuna realized that these two are his most beloved objects. Bhishmacharya was his own Pitamaha, and he was extremely dear to Arjuna. Dronacharya was his guru. He taught Arjuna all the all the skills for warfare, and he was his dearmost student, and Arjuna was, for Arjuna also, he was his dearmost teacher. So these two were his weaknesses, and Krishna exposed Arjuna to his weaknesses to see whether he can survive the test, whether he can survive the test and face those weaknesses and overcome victorious. He had a purpose. Purpose was to fight a war. Bhishma, Drona, if they are standing in front of him from the opposite side, then it was Arjuna's duty to fight with them as well. So so Krishna, instead of taking Arjuna's chariot in front of Duryodhan, he took it in front of Bhishma and Drona, and seeing them standing in front of them, uh, Arjuna starts melting just like butter when he gets exposed to fire, or ice when when it gets exposed to the bright hot sunlight. Just like that, Arjuna started melting, and he's described in the Bhagavad Gita first chapter, that verse 28 onwards. There's a beautiful description that comes, which tell us how, what was his condition. Now he is not an ordinary man. He is, at his time, he was the most formidable warrior of his time, not an ordinary person, and he has fought many battles, conquered many unbeatable warriors. He single-handedly defeated entire Kaurava army in Virat, when Ajnatwas got over, and Duryodhana somehow got to know that they are hiding in the Virat Raj. So he attacked, and the Virat army was very small. They could not fight with Kauravas, but Arjuna single-handedly led the battle, and he defeated all the Kauravas. He didn't kill them, but he defeated single-handedly the entire army of Kaurava, which included Bhishmacharya, Dronacharya, Karna, Duryodhan, Dushasan, all his 100 brothers. Everyone was present, and Arjuna single-handedly defeated all of them. And the same Arjuna uh, started saying that seeing his friends and relative before him, his fighting spirit, I feel limbs of my body are quivering, my mouth is drying up, uh, my whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on the end, and my bow, Gandiva, is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. Now, nimittani cha pashyami viparitani केशव. अर्जुन saying that uh, मैंने सोचा एक था और उसके विपरीत हो रहा है, उसका सब कुछ उल्टा हो रहा है, and he is not able to understand ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है, because he came with the intent to fight. He knew there will be a battle, and he was one of the most important warrior of this battle. So, without Arjuna, this battle couldn't have taken place. But and he knew his role as a warrior, Kshatriya warrior. He knew They were on the righteous side. Bhagwan is on their side. Krishna is on their side, and he has no fear, nothing to fear. But seeing his relatives, seeing his elders, Arjuna started trembling. Arjuna
Jai
was.
Shri Krishna Prabhuji, sorry to interrupt. Your voice is very less. We are unable to hear. In between, it happened.
Now it is better.
No,
It is still low.
not yet. Check the wires.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, now it's perfect.
It's big, right? Okay. Thank you so much, Akaji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So, did you miss any part, or we're just
Just last,
describing the
last few
battlefield?
minutes. Last
Okay.
few minutes.
Okay. Okay. Just in case voice again, you can immediately stop because then I don't have to repeat. So basically, we are describing Arjuna's condition on the battlefield of Kurukshetra by seeing his elders, by seeing his relatives in standing in front of him, and he knew it's going to be a fatal battle, and he will have to actually kill all of those relatives, or he will get killed by them. Either way, he's not going to see them again after this, and that led to his uh, his condition becoming getting deteriorated. He's mentally extremely becomes weak, and in that condition his past starts speaking. He gives various reasons. So we are given the title of this slide is Disoriented Arjuna. We need orientation in life, and Arjuna appears to be disoriented. He's giving compassion, he's giving various reasons. One of them is compassion. How can I kill my relatives, gurus, elders? I'm a devotee. I'm a devotee, and devotee is supposed to be compassionate. They are all spirit souls. They are all part and parcel of you. How can I kill them? No enjoyment without my relatives. How will I enjoy? Even if I win the entire kingdom by killing my relatives and my elders, how will I enjoy? I will not. I will always carry guilt in my with me. Sinful reactions. Now, killing my family member is sinful. I'm not supposed to do that. My kula dharma is to protect my family members, not to kill them. So it will definitely give me sinful reactions. Destruction of dynasty. If all men assembled on the battlefield they get killed, the women and children will get polluted, which will lead to unwanted population, and all the pindo, the kriya, which is offering water for the benefit of the ancestors, they will be stopped, because the progeny which will come by such irreligious contact between men and women will be religious also, so they will not follow religion. So, and he says I will become responsible for all that. Indecision, he's not able to decide whether fighting is right or leaving the battlefield is better. He says instead of killing mahatmas like like Dronacharya and Bhishmacharya, I will rather go begging. I'll go and beg and for my living, rather than trying to become king by killing my relatives, so glorious relatives like Bhishma and Drona. So he's having all these thoughts, cluttered in his mind, and he's unable to think through what to do. And he speaks this beautiful verse: Karpanya dosho pahatasva bhavaha पृच्छामि त्वाम धर्म सम्मूढ़ चेतः यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्ते aham shadhi matvam prapannam. Arjuna is saying, now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple, a soul surrender unto you. Please instruct me. Arjuna is confused about his duty. What are the options that he could have followed kula dharma. Kula dharma means family tradition, family religion. As a elder member of his family, as one of the strongest member of his family, his dharma was to protect his family, not to kill the members of his family because they just happen to be weak. And as a Kshatriya Dharma, his fight duty was to fight against the irreligion. And clearly, the irreligion was on the side of Kauravas. And if Bhishma and Drona and others his other relatives of his, if they choose to fight this battle on behalf of Kauravas on the side of Adharma, then whoever is standing in front of him, it was Arjuna's duty to kill them as well in the war. Or so Kshatriya Dharma was telling him to fight. The Kula Dharma was telling him not to fight. And he was caught in between this confusion, the battle. He was unable to decide which one to pick. It was like a lose lose situation. That even if I fight and win, I'm still a loser because I lose all my relatives and loved ones. And if I don't fight, it is still a loss because we will be deprived of kingdom. We will, we will allow the irreligion to win, adharma to win, and I will become contributor in that. Because if I don't fight, and if I may fight and may get defeated or get killed by adharma, that's different issue. Because then I would have done my duty. But instead of fighting, if I run away from the battlefield and Adharma becomes victorious, I become responsible for that. I become contributor in that. So that is horrible. That is much worse than dying in the battlefield. I'll rather prefer getting killed fighting this battle. But that chances are those chances were also weak because who will kill Arjuna? Arjuna was actually the champion warrior. So if the battle was to go through, probably Arjuna would have killed most of those or all of those warriors. And that's why he was worried because then he didn't wanted that to happen. So in this confused or disoriented state of mind, Arjuna turns to Krishna and surrenders to him and seek his advice, seek his guidance. Just share it again. So we will look at this aspect and we'll jump into the topic of soul very quickly in on three point of view. One is we need to understand. Let's deliberate a little bit more on understanding why it is important for us to have understanding of our identity and a proper orientation in life. Why it is so important? Now we've seen Arjuna's condition that Arjuna is actually disoriented. He seems to have lost his identity, who really he is. If he is fixed with his identity, he would not have had any difficulty in picking what to do. If he were to only identify himself as Kshatriya, then he would have picked up the fight, the option to fight. But he also is identifying himself as a Kula Guru, as the son born in Kula Guru family, Kuru Nandana. So that is his confusion. So in life, we also need to have proper orientation. Else, our life can become very confusing and very difficult to live. Now, we need also the rational or logical ways in which we can understand it. We need to have our understanding and we need to have fair understanding, fair way in which we can understand why we are who we are. The why also we should be able to understand in a rational or logical way. And what are the benefits? So, how to need for understanding the identity and having a proper orientation, how to understand, how to develop such understanding, and what are the benefits of such understanding. These are the three levels at which we will focus our rest of the discussion today. Let's understand the need for understanding our identity and having a proper orientation in life. When somebody joins a new company, they're taken through orientation. Why? Because they're new to the place. They need to understand where they belong to, and what they are supposed to do. What is the purpose? If they are left just like this, they will wander here and there, but they will not be much productive. Hence, all the new employees are given orientation. This orientation help us where we belongs to, where what is our place, and what is our purpose, and accordingly we can direct our actions accordingly. If that is missing, it can create very difficult situation for ourselves. Like, we see here this movie Gajni. The actor wakes up in the morning and sits on the bed while he's aware that he has woken up. He's unable to remember anything. He's unable to remember his name. He's unable to identify the place where he is woken up. The his bedroom or his house. He's unable to identify a lot of those things. Where he is, he can't figure out what is his name, who he is, where he is, which is the place that he's woken up into, why he is suffering, why is this confusion, why is in this state, what has led to him being in this stage. Most importantly, what is he supposed to do? Having woken up, what he is supposed to do. Now, this is in this movie, the actor goes after, what you see behind him are all the images, pictures taken, clicked by the Polaroid camera, which are printed immediately, instantly. And he write down everything, just like a baby writes things down. Similarly, he write things down, and he use those stickers to get him that orientation, what he's supposed to do. uh, Open the tab, go to the bathroom, and then do this, do that. And then he has a that he is a reminder, he has painted a lot of things on his body, so when he see himself in the mirror, he gets some clues, some reminders of what he's supposed to do. But in general, this is a very horrible state of mind. If we don't know really who we are, if we don't know where we are, if we don't know why are we suffering, and if we don't know what are we supposed to do, then without this knowledge, whatever actions we will do, can be completely unproductive and completely useless. Because we may do the opposite of what we are supposed to do. We don't know. And so that's why this thing is extremely important. Suppose if we get kidnapped and in the process get hits on our head and then suffer from amnesia. Amnesia is temporary memory loss. Then our life will become extremely difficult. Now, the why the pra- the fundamental driver for us, all of us, is our identity. Our identity orients us in life. Who we are shapes what we are meant to do in life. Who we are shapes what we are meant to do in life. So we need to be properly oriented to know our purpose, which shapes our actions. We need to be properly oriented to know our purpose, which ultimately shapes our actions. So if we don't know, if we are not properly oriented, we may get a wrong purpose, and or we may perform all wrong actions. So this part is also extremely important, which leads to the other two parts, the purpose and action. If we are wrongly oriented, our purpose will be wrong and our actions will be wrong. We'll see a few examples of this. One example is I am a young Indian software professional trying to realize my American dream. What does it mean? I'm a um, I'm a professional. I'm an engineer. I might be say software engineer. Amongst all streams of study, I have picked up. I've chosen to become a software engineer. I can write some codes. I can do some programming, and I'm considering myself employable or worthy of giving employment by a United States company. American dream again is a very abstract concept. What does it mean? It can mean anything. It can mean going to America and becoming big, becoming CEO of some software company. Possible, yes. And in the process, buy a big American home on the house by the sea, a big car, a beautiful women in my life, have children, have swimming pool, temperature control swimming pool inside my home, and drive lavish car, whatever it can be my American dream. And why? Who am I? I'm an Indian software engineer. I'm an Indian and I'm a software professional, and I'm trying to purpose my American dream. Now, in this case, our identity is Indian. That's one of the identities. Software professional is my another identity. And purpose is realize American dream. That's my purpose. Now both these constitute our orientation and purpose in life. And then if we have these two set, all our actions will be directed towards realizing my purpose, my goal. So with this, let's understand if we have uh, if we have a wrong, if you happen to live a life, if you have a wrong identity and wrong purpose and wrong activity, what can happen? Can take to the chat box. What it can lead to? What kind of, and can you give examples? If we live our life with wrong identity and the wrong purpose and wrong actions, if we perform, what can happen? Somebody can unmute and speak, or you can type in the chat box.
And you can get trapped in the life.
You can get trapped in life. Correct.
We will waste all our efforts.
All our efforts will be wasted. Correct. Anybody else? Okay. Yes, we can get trapped. All our efforts can be wasted. We will, if we happen to get a wrong identity, you identify yourself as, say, today, Chief Minister of Maharashtra, and start acting, like that. That I want to go to Mantralaya. Um, I want to pass some orders, pass some GRs. I want to, sanction some schemes. And if I do all that activity thinking of me being a chief minister of Maharashtra, all those will be wasted because I'm not a chief minister of Maharashtra. Even if I sanction some orders, they're not going to work. This is an example of we functioning with a wrong identity and wrong purpose. My purpose is to develop Maharashtra, and I keep writing a lot of orders and I keep signing them, keep showing it, sending it by courier to different government departments. Nobody will act on me because I'm actually not a chief minister of Maharashtra. So my, no matter how glorious my purpose could be, no matter how noble my actions could be, if my identity is wrong, whatever I would have done will simply lead to a waste of time, and it will not result into any gain. Even if I sanction 10 schemes for the benefit of whoever, none of those will be implemented because I'm just acting with wrong identity. There is another chief minister who is supposed to do all this. So if he does it, the things may move. But if I do it, by wrong identity, nothing will move. So from my point of view, all my efforts, all my endeavors will be simply wasted. So we should be. So it's important. Then we all agree, hopefully, that we should know who we are really, and we should then set right purpose and perform right actions. So let's see um, this further with another example. If we may identify ourselves as an athlete or a cricketer, and all our life we've been glorious, we've been praised, and everybody, we get recognized on the street when we walk out. So we live in this life with this image, and we function accordingly because this is who we identify ourselves as. समझ लो, there is an injury, could be a fatal injury to a person, and because of which his cricketing career is finished. Doctor says you can't play cricket or you can't play your sport anymore. Now, this was his primary image, this was his primary identity. When that identity is taken away from him by whatever the reason, he will feel lost because he does not have a plan B, he does not have second identity. And this is what happens with many cricketers who are extreme, who many cricketers or many actors for that matter, who live in glory in their heydays, in their, when they are on top, they live with lot of glory, and when they suddenly are out of the limelight, they find it extremely difficult to adjust because they are no more wanted by the media, they are no more wanted by the people, they are no more loved by people as they were used to, and they find, they struggle extreme, they find it extremely difficult to make adjustment, that okay, I had to now agree that people will not, even if I go on the road, nobody will follow me, nobody will come to me asking for a autograph or a picture with me, because now I'm no more, I'm the same person, but I'm no more famous or whatever the. So they need to be reoriented in life in order to function in proper way. Otherwise they get completely disoriented once their identity is taken away as the top cricketer, as the top actor. they lead they can lead a very disastrous life, and that has happened with many celebrities who couldn't adjust to the reality that they are no more a celebrity, they are no more on top, there are other people who have taken their place, they are no more number one, so called, and they have to be number 50, number 100, and then people stop counting them, people just ignore them, and then they just struggle, they get into the alcoholism, they get into all kind of wrong things, and they lead a very horrible disastrous life. And we have many actors who lived in this way. When they were in top, they were on top, they were extremely popular, and they just, when they came down, they just couldn't handle it, and they witnessed a very disastrous end. So in Bhagavad Gita, coming back to Bhagavad Gita now, Arjuna was experiencing confusion because of his two identities. One identity was telling him to fight, and another, Kshatriya Dharma, was telling him fight, and Kula Dharma was telling him don't fight. And this was the reason for his confusion. Krishna immediately reminds Arjuna about his spiritual identity. So we have many identities. Uh, we have many functional identities. For me, I'm son of my parents. That is one identity. I'm husband of my wife. I'm father to my children. That these are another identities. I'm born in a Maharashtrian family. This is another identity. Somebody could be born in Gujarati family, Malayalam family, Tamil family. I and I live in Mumbai. I'm a Mumbaikar. This is another identity. I am Indian. This is another identity for me. I am a chartered accountant. This is another label of that is identity for me. Now, all identities are important, but there will always be hierarchy. Um, Below all this, on all of these are changing identities. I may be a son, but my parents may pass away, and then I can nobody, I have nobody to call my father and mother. So now I am a father, I myself have become a father. So my identities are not static, they're dynamic. They're changing all the time. So so that is where we need something fundamental that is unchanging, and that Krishna provides to Arjuna, that fundamental understanding which does not change is the fact that we are spiritual spark, we are spirit souls. We are spirit souls. We are not this body, but we are spirit soul. All other identities were in relation to my body, my current present body. Not that all in my lives I have been born as a Maharashtrian family. Um, all my life I was born in India. Not necessarily. Maybe, may not be. So, like all in my previous births, I was always born as a male. No, not necessarily. I could have been in female body, now in male body, sometime in animal body, bird body, insect body. I could have changed multiple bodies, millions and millions of bodies. So I can't remember any of that, but that doesn't mean that this is a static position. So all of these are very fungible positions. They are very flexible positions. But so we need something, some fundamental understanding of ourselves to function properly, to get that identity correctly. And Krishna provides him with that identity, saying that you're not this body, you are spirit, soul, and so are all of us. Modern science provide us with an identity of us being biological machine who are fit for survival and reproduction. So the only two production, the biology provide us with this definition, which says that you are a machine made up of matter, and your objective is survival and reproduction. These are the two purposes. Now if you think about it, there are many activities that we perform which can be classified as survival activities. For example, we eat, we sleep. Sleeping is mandatory, necessary for our survival, and we defend. We somebody attacks us, we defend, try to defend to the best of our abilities. So we eat nice food, make nice arrangements for sleeping. We buy home, we create facility to the extent we can, and we defend ourselves from getting hurt. Now these are activities, these are important activities, but these are not the only activities that we perform in life. Mating is meant for reproduction. We seek partners, we get married, we have children, and we have relationships, and so that's we do reproduction also. But not all our activities are only directed towards this. Our actions are have a much broader spectrum than just eating, mating, sleeping, defending. These are important, but these are not the only thing that we strive to do in life. We experience, in fact, a range of emotions that all of us experience. We have so many desires, we have dreams, we have aspirations, we have longings. Uh, and if we were simply made up of matter, then we would not have experienced any of this. We would not have experienced any emotions. This table on which the computer is kept and the computer itself, these are made up of matters. Matters means पंच महाभूता, जिससे हम कहते हैं कि अर्थ वाटर एयर फायर ईथर, इन पांच पंचमहाभूतों से के डिफरेंट कॉम्बिनेशन से ये टेबल बना है, वुडन टेबल बना है जिसके ऊपर ये लैपटॉप रखा है. सो दीज आर मेड बाय, सो दिस इज मैटर, दिस इज मटेरियल, वी कॉल इट मटेरियल. This table cannot experience any of these emotions that we have listed on the left hand side picture. Even if I slap this table, it doesn't feel bad. And even if I pat this table, it doesn't feel good. It neither feels good nor feel bad. It doesn't feel angry. It does not experience, it cannot experience any of the emotions. So so our actions are shaped by our emotions and desires, dreams, and longings. So that is something that we need to understand more deeply. So there is a difference in the living entities and dead matters. We living entities have something that is missing in a table or a computer. We have spiritual spark inside us that make us conscious being. And because of this spiritual spark inside us, inside our body, which is otherwise nothing, which is otherwise actually equivalent of table, a dead body, when that spark leaves, the rest of the body that is left back is we call it a lump of dead matter. We just dispose it off. It's just as good as broken chair or a chair or a table. It will not feel, it will have all the right characteristics that a table possesses. That, and the dead body and the table actually possesses the similar qualities, no difference. The dead body, even if it goes through, when the when postmortem is performed, no anesthesia is given because the pain experiencer is missing. The one who experiences pain is the soul. But that when the soul is not there, there's no need to give anesthesia. You can just cut open a human body for the purpose of performing, um, performing doing the शव विच्छेदन क्रिया जो पोस्टमार्टम करते हैं उसके, there's no need to give any anesthesia because the experiencer of the pain has already gone. So this spiritual spark inside actually brings the difference, makes all the difference. the experiences of emotions, desires, longing, etc., that what we saw has got nothing to do with the matter, but has got everything to do with the spiritual spark. So when that spark is not present, we are not different than a table. You cut table into two pieces, it doesn't experience pain. Similarly, if you cut the same dead body into two pieces while doing postmortem, it doesn't feel good, bad, ugly. It does not feel any pain. So the experiencer is missing. That experiencer, Bhagavad Gita describe him as spirit, soul, Atma. That Atma is eternal. That Atma is different than this material components, so all the chemicals that are present inside our body. This Atma is much, much different than whatever is there otherwise in the body. So in our body, um, everything is temporary. It will change form. The Himalaya is temporary. Himalaya is also changing form. The mountains, the rivers, the oceans, everything in this world is changing form. But this spiritual spark, the soul, Atma, is eternal. Bhagavad Gita tells us that this Atma is eternal. How do we understand this? We have experienced that, every movie ends with the board saying that, and they lived happily ever after. Now, this ever after, happily ever after, the thought, the desire to live happily ever after does not come from any of the chemical inside our body. So this table has no desire to live happily ever after because this table has always experienced change. This is in this shape right now. After I scrap it, it will be cut into multiple pieces. This wood will get separated, metal will get separated, and it will change form, and it may get used. This wood may get used in some other part. Metal may get used, becomes nail and get fixed in some other part. It will change form. The metal will remain metal, but it will change form. The wood will remain wood, but it will change form. Now it is stable. It may become a small stool. It may become a big cupboard or whatever. It may get used anywhere. So nothing in this world is permanent. Is everything is temporary. We see mountains changing form. The oceans are reducing and changing. The rivers are changing, and everything around us is changing. But the soul has innate desire to live happily ever after. This ever after is eternity, is not does not belong to the material world, because material world everything is temporary. It is real, but it is temporary because it will change form. The building in which I am living today is real. I can see, touch, feel it, but it is not permanent. Why? Because 20 years down the line, 50 years down the line, they will demolish this, they will use this part somewhere else, they will either throw this or they will recreate some other structure. So all our forms, we've seen that the forms are not uh, permanent. We want our loved ones to live forever, but our elders depart. When the time comes, they depart. Their bodies become old and becomes useless, and the we see those bodies become dead eventually, and we dispose them off. We don't keep them, because we realize that those bodies and the person whom we loved are different. And so this sat, the desire to survive, this is going beyond survival. If we were to be a biological machine, we will understand that we want to survive, but survive forever does not come from material world. It comes from the spiritual world. Why? Because spiritual world, the soul has actually experienced the life of eternity. Like if a child who is born in the jungles of Africa without any contact with the city, has never seen pizza in his life. Nobody in his vicinity has ever seen pizza. They kill animal and eat. They have no shop. Now such child suddenly go to his mama and say, "Mama, I want to eat pizza." She may think of pizza as some another type of animal that he wants to kill and eat, because she has never seen pizza. Nobody has seen pizza in the entire community or in the entire surrounding, so it does not come. So she may ask a child, "I don't know what pizza is. Where have you heard this name? How do you know about this pizza?" Because then the child might have had previous birth, could have been born in America or some city where he had eaten pizza, and in his new birth as a child, he is again demanding to eat that pizza. So, so that so Sat is a survival, but it's not just survival, it's eternal survival. It's an eternal life that the soul has already experienced in the spiritual world, because of which soul has a desire to live eternally. Chit means to be conscious. To be conscious means to inquire, to seek knowledge. This is another innate potency of the soul. We don't have to be taught. Knowledge that we try to learn is not just limited for survival and reproduction. We have desire to learn many more things than just use than what is useful for survival and reproduction. For example, Newton said that he saw a fruit falling. Some says it fell in front of him. Some says it fell on him. Whatever. But Newton saw the fruit falling. Now, if he were driven only by his instincts for survival and reproduction, he would have picked up that fruit and ate, because eating fruit, eating an apple will help his survival. Eating, mating, sleeping, defending. So perfectly all right. Nobody would have questioned why he never went beyond that, why he never questioned why it is falling down, why the apple is falling down. That nobody would have been bothered to ask this question. But Newton just didn't saw the fruit falling down. He also asked a question to himself, that why it is falling down. Now that why was neither helping him in survival nor in reproduction. So the knowledge that he was seeking was way beyond his basic instincts of survival and reproduction. Similarly, we learn music, we learn philosophy, we learn art. Now, all of these really does not help us for survival and reproduction. We know we want to learn them for the sake of learning them, and maybe they may become productive, they may give us money at much later stage, but we're fond of it. Just from the childhood uh, we start drawing, we start painting, we start doing showing artwork, we learn music, we learn dance, we learn philosophy. So all of that does not really gives us survival and reproduction, doesn't help us in any of that, but we still want to do it. Why? Because it is our innate nature of the soul just to be conscious, to be to always seek knowledge, to be curious. So we are following not our bodily instinct, but the instinct to to learn these things comes from the presence of the soul. Ananda means becoming joyful. Now we seek Ananda in every possible way. We don't just survive. We don't want to be happy. We don't just reproduce. We want to have loving relationships. We don't just have search for partner for reproduction. In fact, animals also have loving sentiment with their partners. So we go much beyond survival and reproduction. We act at the level of love. We want to give love. We want to experience joy in our relationships. So we don't just live for survival and reproduction. Our activities goes way beyond that. And that is why we can infer that we have additional instincts which don't originate from earth, water, fire, air, and ether combination of it, but it originates from the spiritual spark which is present inside our body. And we should live our life with this knowledge and then act accordingly. So what we have done is we have given ourselves an identity. We should know we are spirit souls beyond, and that is our fundamental identity. Above that, there will be many functional identities we will obtain, we will get, and they will change, but this will never change as long as we are occupying one particular body. And if we have that consciousness that I am spirit soul, then that should become the primary driver for what my purpose is and what actions I'm supposed to do to decide that. So, knowing I'm spirit soul, I should also now determine my purpose in life. And accordingly only I should act. If I if I don't have right identity, I don't have wrong, then I will have wrong purpose and I will perform wrong actions, will lead to disaster. We already discussed this. Let's go little deeper in this. Let's understand. Bhagavad Gita says that we are spirit soul, or that's our identity, original identity. We are not this lump of body. This will be thrown. Believe me, it will be. It has happened in past for our loved ones, our own relatives, friends. We have seen. When the soul departs, how badly we treat that body. We actually set it on fire. We the antim sanskar that we perform, we offer some mantras, but essentially we set fire, we set body on fire, and that's no way pleasing. Today, during our life, we protect our body from fire, but at the end of it, we offer body of our loved ones to the fire. We allow it to all those elements to go back where they came from. They came from nature, so we send them back to the nature. So so this is good. This is good. We've known that we are spirit souls, and the scriptures tell us that we are spirit souls. But is there a the logical way beyond words of scriptures which I may understand, but many of us may not understand because we don't know who wrote scriptures. We don't, whatever could be our own shortcomings, because of which, is there we still want to figure it out in a logical way. Is there a logical way to understand that I am spirit soul? So let's look at what has been mentioned in the scriptures. So beautiful verse. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadhipaha na chaivam na chaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayam atah param. So Krishna, this is the first verse Krishna spoke, and he is speaking about the identity and is describing the characteristics of that identity. I just need to figure out how to stop this. Uh, somebody is, I think, writing on the annotate.
Prabhuji, you need to put off the notations on the bar above, which you see in your screen.
I had to first
Annotations, you
remove.
need to stop that. Yes, remove, and then you need to stop participants to.
I don't know how to stop it. Any of the co-hosts, can you see this or can you do this? Oh, snap. Okay, I'll just keep this open. Please stay away from
Hey,
the
make me
screen.
a pause for a couple of minutes. I'll do the settings. Just make me a pause for a
I'll
couple of
do
seconds.
this. Yeah, yeah. No, you can stay co-host for the rest of the session. That's fine. I think made you co-host, Mataji. Okay, so let's begin. Yeah, let's continue. So this beautiful verse, Krishna is speaking, and Krishna is basically highlighting the characteristics of the soul. Characteristics of the soul. That soul is eternal, and he's saying you're worried about killing these people, but never was there a time when you and all these kings were not existent in past. They're they were existent in past, they existed in past, they exist today, and they will continue to exist in future. And then comes this beautiful verse, the most quoted verse, beautiful verse, that Dehino smin yatha dehe Kaumaram yavvanam jara tatha dehantar praptir dhiras tatra namuhyati. Dehino is the one who is possessing the deha, the possessor of the deha, the one who is inside the deha. Deha is body, and the one who is inside occupying the deha for the time being, who pervades himself, who enters the deha and pervades in every nook and corner of this body, that person. So it's an indirect reference to that who is occupying this body. Now that Dehino, the one who is occupying the body, the embodied, Smin Yatha Dehe, is continuously moving from body within the body also. There's continuous movement. Is He's moving from from boyhood to youth to old age. Kaumaram Yavana Jara. Jara is old age. And at Dehantara, Deha Antara, that at the end when the deha becomes useless, old, who's occupier of the deha is simply moves to another deha. But and this is very normal. So if you are a dhira, if you are a knowledgeable person, you will not get bewildered by this. Suppose you are going from Mumbai to Delhi, and if you're traveled till say MP, or MP, and then your car breaks down, you will take another car and continue with your journey towards Delhi. So if you are a knowledgeable person, you will not feel bad about it. You'll just say, okay, that's fine. At least he's continuing with his journey. So the dehantara, that if you give up one body and accept another body, this indicates that there is a journey, that this dehino is on a journey. Now that journey does not end with death. Journey doesn't end with death. Just because my car is broken down, my I will not say that I'll not go anymore to Delhi. If my goal is to go to Delhi, and if my car breaks down in between somewhere in MP, I will arrange for another car and I will continue with my journey towards Delhi, towards my goal. So that is what that so that means the soul is on a journey. And as a journey means this basically we have to have a destination. If our identification is correct, then our purpose will also be correct, then our journey will also be correct, our actions, our movements, those will also be correct. But if our identification is wrong, our destination that we will set for ourselves will be wrong, and our actions will also be wrong. So this is where we are tying up what we discussed at the beginning of the session with what the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita is. So if I identify only myself as a Indian, a poor Indian who become with great hard work, become top software professional, my journey, so this becomes my identity, and my goal or my is to make it big in America. Have my own car, have my own wife, my children, and my own home with beautiful swimming pool, beautiful lawn, and I will enjoy in America. I want to make it big in America. I want to earn more than Americans earn. So if that kind of a goal, that kind of a purpose I get wrong identity, I get wrong purpose, all the actions that I will perform will be also wrong. Because I am neither Indian near nor that birth after birth I've been born as a software professional. And I'm neither male nor female. Now, not that I'm always I want to I've had multiple homes in past. Sometimes poor home, sometimes a rich home, sometimes poor home. But that is functional. All that is required for carrying out my life, but that is not the end of my life. So that is not the goal of my life. So let's understand this particular verse in a little bit more detail. So with this, see this, that the we are changing body constantly from boyhood to youth, uh, Kaumaram, Yauvana, Jara. Jara is here, and Jara also ends. The body becomes useless. The soul is removed from this body and put into another body. Another baby is born somewhere, and sometimes we born as animals, and animals become human, and human become animal, and this cycle is continuously going on. Krishna sometimes see us as death personified, and otherwise he puts us into the womb of another mother, and then we become baby. So this is the cycle of repeated birth and repeated death, where if we are if we have wrong identity, wrong purpose, and wrong actions, if we are performing, it can lead us to it can keep us bind permanently in this cycle. There is no exit, because we will never go to our destination, we will never reach our destination. Now that's going to be a very horrible state if it were to happen to us. Hence, we need to know who we are really. We need to know what is our purpose, and we need to act according to our orientation and our purpose. Another characteristics that are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, and then we will go to the rational understanding or logical understanding of the concept of soul. Now, this is the Dehino is being described. That Dehino, Atma is word is not used. It's only used for at couple of places in Bhagavad Gita. But this is how the Vedic knowledge is. At times, it can come through indirect reference. So, that Dehino, the one who is occupying the body, that Dehino neither na jayate mriyateva kadachit, that neither taken birth nor taken, there is no birth, neither birth nor death for that Dehino. Now this is description of that Dehino, the one who is occupying the body. उसका description हो रहा है कि उसको उसने तो कभी जन्म भी नहीं लिया, तो उसका और कभी मृत्यु भी नहीं होगा. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existent, and primeval. That Dehino is not slain when the body is slain. Similarly, when the car breaks down, टायर गेट्स पंक्चर, इंजन खराब होता है, और कुछ सारे काफी चीजें खराब हो जाती है गाड़ी की, गाड़ी बिकम यूजलेस. Now that Gadi becoming useless doesn't make driver useless. Driver can get another car and continue with his journey. Similarly, the soul doesn't become useless when the body become old and useless. So soul simply comes out of that body and gets into another body and continue with his journey. How, as a person puts on new garment, giving up old one, a soul similarly accept new material bodies, giving up old and useless one. Says text 22. वासांसि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरो पराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णा अन्यानि संयन्ति नवानि देहि. Then that soul, that Dehino, is of special character. He cannot be cut into pieces. Nainam chindanti shastrani. Nainam dahati pavakaha. Pavaka means can be burned by fire, not moist by water, neither withered by the wind. The one jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvo janma mritasya cha. The one who has taken birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. Do not lament for the broken car, because you are not the car. You are a driver of the car. So if car only could have brought you up to MP, give up that car. Don't lament for the loss of car. Get into another car and continue with your journey towards Delhi. So Krishna is, in a very simple way, advising Arjuna not to lament for the loss of body, which is anyway temporary. And you are anyway not the body. Krishna started the instruction. The concept of soul, you are not this body, you are spirit soul. Satchit Ananda. Our body is temporary. Lack of opposite of this is our matter. So these are the qualities of spirit, of spiritual spark, soul. These are the qualities of the matter. Our table is temporary. Table does not have any knowledge. Table is miserable. Why? Because it cannot experience any joy. So Satchit Ananda. The difference in the living body and a dead body, or living and a dead body, that the six changes. When the soul is present inside a body, it experiences six changes. Uh, the birth, growth, maintenance, production, byproduct, dwindling, and death. But when a soul is not present, there are only three stages that happens. Something gets created, something gets dwindle, and something gets destructed. So 1, 5, and 6 are common. This table has been created. The table, from the moment it is created, it will start deterioration to process. It will dwindle, and finally it will get destroyed. I will just throw it, it will broke down, and it will get scrapped and whatever. So these three are common, but if there is a scratch in the table will not try to heal itself. Table cannot reproduce. Two tables kept together cannot produce a third table. So table cannot grow in size. So these three qualities, these three symptoms, these are the three additional symptoms are demonstrated by those objects where the soul is present. And soul is present inside our body will show six symptoms. When soul is not present in our body, it will only show three symptoms. That and whatever is wherever we think this soul is not present, they will only have these three symptoms. They will be created, they will be dwindling, and they will die. They will get destructed. But when the soul is present, there's a creation, there is a growth. Our table will not grow, mobile phone does not grow. There is a maintenance, there's a healing process that happens. If our body gets cut, it will try to heal himself. Why? Because the soul is present. Soul has this innate ability of living happily ever after, and for that it knows how to repair himself also. So the cut in body can get repaired automatically. The clots will get developed so that the blood flow will be minimized, and eventually the healing will also happen. And reproduction, the male and female bodies can come together and produce a third body. A table and mobile phones, they can't produce another object. So this is how we understand that the soul exists, and not only exists, it shows that it exists. It demonstrates its existence, and we can perceive it. If we are little intelligent, we can perceive the presence of soul and absence of soul both. logical understanding. Let's understand the concept that soul exists really in a little logical way, simple logical way. That San Francisco Prabhupada went to a school. Devotees took him to school, so he used to go and meet often, respected people in the society or respected organizations in the society, and he used to speak to them about Krishna consciousness. And in the similar way, he went to a school, and then his disciples were worried how he can speak philosophy to the children, who and how will they understand. This is not India, this is America. But Prabhupada then requested for the most intelligent boy in the school to come up, and he came up, and then Prabhupada asked him few questions. He asked him to show uh, different parts of your body. Prabhupada pointed at his head, said, what is this? He said, this is my head, this is my hand, this is my nose, this is my mouth, this is my face, this is my leg, and this is my body. So he kept answering these questions and was wondering why, for answering these questions, why you need the most intelligent boy in the school to come up. Every boy or a girl would have answered this in the same way. But then Prabhupada asked him something different, something that got him thinking. This he's saying that you're saying, this is your head, this is your nose, this is your face, this is your body. Where are you? And then he was started wondering that if this is my body, I am different than my body. If this is my shirt, I am obviously not shirt. I am different than my shirt. If this is my nose, I am not nose. I am different than my nose. So if this is my body, which means I am different than my body, then who am I? And where am I? So the boy couldn't answer. So it needs intelligence, higher intelligence to understand the concept of soul and its presence. When the person dies, we very categorically says that he passed away. Somebody comes visit us, and then see a dead body. They be sensitive to dead body, and then they come to the relatives and then say, "We are sorry for the loss. Sorry for that person has passed away." Now, who has passed away? That body is still there. No, no. We are not referring to the body. We are referring to the person who was inside that body. That spiritual spark with whom we had a relationship, who was a friend to somebody, who was a father to somebody, who was a lover to somebody, who was brother of someone, boss of someone, that person has left the body. And now body, nobody cares. People will just go and destroy the body in a short while from now. But they will go to the relatives and express their sorrow for the loss of person. That person who was living in that body has gone away, and they express that their 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 sorrow for the loss of that person. That person has gone away. That is the sad event. Body was there earlier, body is there now also. Nothing really has changed inside the body, but that person has gone, person has moved away, and that is the reason for sorrow, because now we can no more reciprocate with that person anymore, because that person has left the body, is not going to come back. There is a theory that we are just a bunch of chemicals, and that this is the ingredients which are found inside human body. But we are much more than that. We are not the bunch of chemicals costing 210 rupees including GST. Sometimes we are beautiful, and chemicals are the same, and sometimes we are not so beautiful. In the same movie, this actor was had acted in the movie Ghazni, played role of a medical student who is investigating on this particular case. So chemicals are the same, but now once the soul departs, there are no feelings. There's no desire, there's no thinking, no movement, no consciousness, because the soul is gone. Body is same, soul is gone. Let's understand a little bit more about the concept of soul through and its movement from one body to another through case studies, few of reincarnation, out of body experience, and near death experiences. Now, the reincarnation is a very fascinating field of study. By various scientists have conducted uh, numerous experiments on the subjects who claim themselves to be the reincarnation. Some of them could have been found false because anyone becoming reincarnation can get instant fame. You know, you can be on the headline, you can make headlines, can be on the top front page of a newspaper, or on social media nowadays. All over social media you can be, if you happen to claim to be a reincarnation of, say, some great person, uh, then you can become very famous. So there is always a danger of people, those who claim, those children especially, who claim to have been reincarnation of someone else. So so there is a quick fame attached to it. So scientists, when before they can conclude that it is accurate or it is a proper case study of reincarnation, they guard themselves against these problems that could that could result into a false claim made by somebody as a reincarnation. But nevertheless, there are four parameters, or four pillars on which a scientist typically rely before they conclude that particular case is meeting all criterias and can be called as a case of reincarnation. The there should be a remembrance. There should be, now this is, reincarnation is often seen uh, amongst children up to the age of 5 or 6 or 7. As they grow, their memories become fade and eventually they go. Past life memories become very fade and then eventually they go. But they have very clear remembrance of their past life. In the as they are child, they're born as children in some family. They have very clear remembrance of their past life and the past activities. The previous life, who they were, they're able to tell very clearly. When they are exposed to situations, those similar scenarios which they claim to have been from, with the claim that they were there, when they are exposed to those situations, those events, those home, that city, those people, they are able to recognize them, without anybody's intervention. Then they also behave in a particular way. They show behaviors which are corresponding with their previous birth, and they many times can have birthmarks and birth defects. So let's take a case study of James Leninger. He was born in America. Again, a very documented case study. Lot of videos are available, lot of material is available on internet about this particular case study. So James Leninger was now this is a case study which indicates that the information was extremely difficult to obtain. That boy, the James, his name was James in his second birth also. Uh, he was revealing information which was extremely difficult to obtain by normal means. So, born to an educated American parents, he started having nightmare. This James started having nightmare when he was 2 year old. He had an extraordinary knowledge about fighter planes and played exclusively with fighter planes. Now, in his family, his mother side, father side, none of them were in army or air force. None of them had that background, but he he had extraordinary knowledge about fighter planes. During counseling, he was taken. Now, he comes from a Christian family. Now, Christianity does not believe in the reincarnation per se. So his parents were not knowing what to do with him. So as he was growing up, his nightmares were also growing, and fearing the consequences, they took him to a psychologist and a therapist. During the therapy sessions, he revealed that he was a fighter jet pilot who was killed by Japanese missiles in the World War II. Now, he made many statements, and all of those were documented. And many of those statements actually match with another James, James Houston, uh, James Leninger, match with James Leninger's, and those descriptions, whatever this boy was revealing, were matching with a co-pilot, with a pilot called James Leninger, who actually had died in the World War II and was hit by a Japanese missile while he went on. He took off from a ship, and there was a co-pilot, and co-pilot survived, but he died in that particular attack. Now, in this case, um, that this information was considered to be most extraordinary, and he could he could at the age when he had not even seen a fighter plane, a real fighter plane, he knew exactly how it operates. He knew exactly what happened on that day. He knew what conversation he had with his co-pilot. He knew about his previous family, and he was taken to them, and he recognized all of them. His sister was present. She was alive. His co-pilot was alive, and he met and spoke with his co-pilot and spoke as if another co-pilot, two pilots or two mates would speak with each other. He spoke in that manner. He was no more speaking like a 5-year-old child. And so that was extremely astonishing for his parents and everyone around him, that how could he have got so much knowledge. And then this becomes a documented case study, confirming a case that something has moved, something existed in the previous body that has come to the new body, and it's not genetic, it's not nothing. There was no connection between these two families, and but somehow that soul somehow, because the Christianity does not talk about soul, but the soul has moved, got another body, and thereby because he's died in a very traumatic situation, he managed to retain all his past life memories, and that's what he revealed. Eventually, he lost those memories, became fade, and eventually became he lost all those memories. Another famous case was that of Shanti Devi. It's a case where very intimate details were revealed by a small girl about a woman who lived in Mathura. Now, Shanti Devi, she was born as a child in Delhi in a small locality. At the age of 4, she started revealing about her past life, that she was a wife of Chaube in Mathura. And there she had children and had gave such detailed information that everyone was astonished. Then they decided to take her to Mathura, and then she was taken to Mathura. She got down at Mathura, and then her husband was present. He was alive, and here her elder brother was also alive, and he was brought in front of her deliberately, and then she immediately got down, bent down on her knees and paid obeisances, saying, "ये मेरे जेठ है, मेरे husband के बड़े भाई है." And then she reciprocated with him according to that relationship. Then she took the tanga, and then she directed tanga exactly as if she's directing him to take to her own home. She stopped tanga at a particular place which actually was her home in the previous life. She entered and she met her husband, and again she behaved with him as if a wife would behave with her husband. She had children, grown up one, but she behaved with them as if a mother uh, would take care of her mother would react with her children. So all her uh, behaviors, she had remembrance, she had recognitions, she had behaviors, she demonstrated behaviors, and also uh, she could reveal a lot of information which was practically not available to anyone. So this woman, she revealed that how she died during a childbirth. The child survived, but she lost her life because, and then she how she conceived baby also, that she revealed how it was difficult because of her arthritis problem, and somehow they conceived a baby, and then she lost her life during the childbirth, and that all. Now these are the intimate details. Now these were like all this case study belongs to happened somewhere before somewhere in 1930s. So that time there was no Google, there's no telephone, there was no means of communication through which it could be passed on from one place to another. Many such case studies are documented, many such wonderful case studies are documented by scientists, uh, which actually reveals that there's something inside the body which does not get na hanyate na hanyamane sharire, which was not destroyed when the body was destroyed, but actually had ability to move to another body and reveal some past memories, and those were considered to be the cases of reincarnation. Not NDEs, near death experiences, and out of body experiences. Normally, soul is inside a body and he pervades the body and utilizes the body, but soul can exist outside the body also. There are many operations, especially operation standstill, which are performed on the brain, where a body is practically is dead by all medical parameters, because unless that body is brought to that condition, no operation cannot be performed by the doctor. So body is practically dead, the brain is dead, the heart is stopped, and in that condition the operation is performed. Now a patient who is undergoing such operation has no capacity, no consciousness, no ability to see things and feel things, because if we were to have that consciousness, it would have become extremely painful. So he's practically dead, he's considered dead by all medical parameters. So he's not conscious, but such patients reveals uh, the in great details how the operation was performed, because they claim that they've seen this surgery happening from the above. From the above, they have seen this surgery happening themselves, and they could recollect, they could reveal the conversation between the medical staff and doctors. They could reveal the whole process that using which this was the operation surgery was performed, what went on. They could reveal all of that, and that is something impossible for the patient to know in the normal course. So that shows us that something which is there inside the body can actually come out of body and again go inside that body. So that soul, which is generally inside a body, can come out of the body and can continue to observe the body. And when the time is right, it can go back to the body. So that is what had happened in these cases. So the existence of soul is real, and again 11 to 14% of the average American population who are mentally and physically healthy have had out of body experiences. Enough research in NDE, non near death experiences, which is with impeccable scientific credentials. Research on eternal soul by 30-year surgeon. But so conclusion is, we are not the body that we see in the mirror. We are spirit, soul. We are Atma. We are the driver of this bodily car. Now let's take the last section of this conversation. The benefits. There's a 14th verse that Matra Sparshastu Kanteya Shitoshna Sukha Dukkadaha Agamapaino Nityastam Stitikshasva Bharata, where Krishna is saying to Arjuna um, that, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. Winter and summer seasons, they arise from sense perception, O son of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So one should develop tolerance, one should not be disturbed, and one should perform our activities without getting affected by the happiness, distress, or is like shitoshna sukha dukkhada, winter and summer season that may come and go. Now, tam stitikshasva bharata. Now, how orientation, right orientation, help us set right expectation. Suppose we are dealing with a mentally sick patient. Okay, we are dealing with, we are going to go and meet mentally sick persons, or we are visiting a mental hospital. What will we, what we will expect to see? We will expect to see abnormal behavior by the patients when they come in front of us. Just give me a second, please. So when we visit a mental hospital, we expect, or we are not surprised to see patients behaving in whimsical way. When we see hospital, we see sick people. We don't expect to see healthy people. We don't get surprised to see very sick people, slightly sick people. We generally expect, when we are oriented in correct way, we don't get events in our life don't bring up surprises for us. If you are supposed to drive, I'm going to drive or going to go to Navi Mumbai for book distribution today evening, and I know there will be heavy traffic. There can be heavy traffic on the road, and when I hit the road and I get caught in traffic, I'm not surprised. So my response is I'm expecting traffic because that's what the prediction was. So uh, so like that, when the events, when we are properly oriented, when in life, the event in life don't surprise us. Events happening in our life, they don't surprise us. So if we are oriented properly, that we are spirit souls, and we are spiritual beings, and at a spiritual core, we are, we cannot be destroyed, we don't fall sick, we cannot, there is no birth, there is no death, and there is, we are on a journey. When we get this understanding very clear, on the fundamental understanding very clear, then the events which are happening in our life, we have ability to tolerate them in much better way, because we at the core we know that we cannot be destroyed. We get we get disturbed by threat to our life, but at the core we need to be convinced about the fact that we cannot be killed, and that can help us become more tolerant in while we live the life. So when we are properly oriented, our responses to the event in life are calm and composed, because we are not caught by surprise. That's the fundamental point. So how should we now act? How should we benefit from this knowledge? When when I think I am this body, and bodily pleasure is the purpose for which my life exists. When I think I am this body, and bodily purpose is the goal of my life, is the purpose of my life, then anything that creates an interruption in my bodily pleasure, my sense enjoyment, becomes a source of distress and misery for me in my life. Again, I'll repeat. When we believe that we are this body, when we believe that we are this body, and bodily pleasure is the purpose for which this body is given, that is the goal of life, then anything that brings interruption in my bodily pleasure, my sense enjoyment, रुकावट के लिए खेद है, or it halts, it checks my my bodily sense enjoyment, I'm not able to enjoy, or it brings interruptions in my sense enjoyment, that becomes a great source of misery and distress in my life. Because I'm wrongly oriented, I have wrong purpose, and all my actions are also wrong. If you look at ourselves, if you look around ourselves, we will realize that all of us practically are living life with this conception only. All of us are living life with this single conception that I am this body, and bodily pleasure is the goal of life. Increasing the quality and quantity of my sense gratification is the goal of life. So if this is wrong, if I get my fundamentals wrong, all the results that I will produce are also wrong. Instead of having an understanding that I am spirit soul, I am now having an understanding that I am this body. I have forgotten that I am spirit soul. Intuitively, I may know that I am different than my body, but for all practical purposes, I act and behave as if I am my body. I click a selfie and put it onto the as my DP because thinking I'm looking good in this particular picture. But soul, there is no picture of soul. The picture is that of a body. The body today may look good, tomorrow may look ugly when it will become old, and it will be thrown also or burned also when it will become useless. So correct orientation is we are eternal soul. We are currently occupying this body. We are eternal soul, but currently occupying this temporary body. We must continue to maintain our body. We don't have to neglect our body. We need to maintain our body to the best of our ability. But we must also act for the benefit of the soul, because when we have, it's not that we have to stop eating just by learning that we, so there is fundamental understanding our identity, and then there are functional identities. Functional identity is I'm in the male body, I'm in Maharashtrian body, and I am a chartered accountant. I must eat, I must sleep properly, I must take care of my body properly so that I can survive. So survival is not negated, survival is not rejected, and reproduction is also taken care of. I get married, I produce children, I do what I can to follow my varnashram dharma. But I know that is not all. That is not all that I have to do in my life, because I have to also act at the level of soul. This is my functional identity, but my fundamental identity is I'm spirit soul. So I need to act on behalf of the soul also. As a soul, we are not independent. We are separated parts of Krishna. Mamaiv Ansho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. These, you are all the living entities are my separated part and parcel, particles. And they are not part and particles now. They are part and particles eternity. For eternity, we will never become Krishna. We will never become one with God. We will never become God. We are always servants of God. We will remain to be servants of God. If we understand this position correctly, that is our identity. If we are separated parts of Krishna, and we are tiny, and Krishna is huge, Krishna is supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna is super soul, supreme soul, we must endeavor then to love and serve Krishna. Krishna is we are similar to Krishna. Krishna is also Satchidananda Vigraha. We also show qualities of Satchit Ananda in small quantity. But Krishna possesses them in huge, unlimited quantity, and therefore, knowing his greatness, knowing his sweetness, knowing his beloved nature, knowing his magnanimity, we should become humble and submissive to him, and have cultivate service attitude towards Krishna. We should love Krishna, serve Krishna as soul, and get, because When we do that, when we love and serve Krishna, we become happy. The soul gets nourishment because of the connection it has with Krishna. This way, we can live happily in this body and thereafter live eternal, loving, blissful life in Golok Vrindavan with Krishna. This is what humans are supposed to do. Just to summarize, we need, we spoke about the orientation. We discussed about what is the need for orientation, what is the need to have spiritual knowledge, and what is why it is what happens when we are properly oriented, where what happens we are not properly oriented. Orientation, proper orientations help us decide on our place and purpose, and knowing this, we are properly directed in our actions. Our actions are properly guided, that shapes our actions. When our orientation is wrong, our purpose will be wrong and our actions will be wrong. When our orientation is wrong, our purpose and actions both are wrong, and both will lead to disastrous results, which will bind us permanently in the repeated cycle of birth and death. Wrong identity, wrong purpose, wrong activities, and bad outcome. Bad outcome means I am this body. What is the wrong identity? I am this body. What is the wrong purpose? Bodily pleasure is goal of life. What is the wrong activities? Acting only for sense enjoyment. That's the wrong activity. And what is the bad outcome? All actions result in the fruit, and I get caught in the cycle of repeated birth and death to enjoy or suffer from that fruit. Very bad outcome, because we have wasted our opportunity to go back to Krishna, go back to the spiritual world from where the spiritual spark has originally come from. So we've sometimes become very fascinated by the idea of aliens, coming in the coming to our planet. Then they probably will have some kind of a spaceship. They'll have some kind of a different looking body than what we see in humans, but they will communicate through some means, and then they will come with spaceships. Sometimes we will get a chance to go there, sometimes they will come and roam around with us in the market as aliens. So it's a very fascinating field of study, these aliens and what they do, where they come from. But in reality, if you will see now, when you look back at today's discussions, these slides, you'll realize that real aliens are we. Real alien on this planet, Earth, is we are that alien. We are nothing. Nothing is spiritual in this world, and we have come here to enjoy matter, which is temporary, which is asat. Satchit Ananda, opposite of that is matter, which is temporary, which is have no knowledge, and which is miserable. And we are trying to enjoy that miserable matter. So that is our problem, and that is the Prabhupada call it a bad bargain of the human body. Having taken human birth, we should direct all our activities in such a way that we make best use of our bad bargain. Bad bargain means having got a human life implies that you goofed up in past lives. You are not in spiritual world because you are born in the material world, in the human body. But whatever human body we have got, we can make best use of that and go back to Krishna, to our original state. So this very bad outcome we can convert by saying, by understanding that I am soul. I am separated part of Krishna. My job is to my activity purpose is to love and serve Krishna. Also maintain body and follow ashram dharma. I could be grahastha, so I should follow my varnashram dharma. If I'm a student, I should study, but I should also continue to have the remembrance that I'm spirit soul. I'm not this body. I should not get caught up in the material designations. and functional identities, different functional identities that I may have because of my involvement with the society. Those are there, those will always be there, and they will change also. But my fundamental identity can never change, will never change. So I will continue to be soul. I'm soul. I will continue to be the soul forever. So, uh, I am soul, I'm separated part of Krishna, should love and serve Krishna. Also maintain body and follow ashram dharma. Then actions don't produce any fruit. If I act in this consciousness, um, with a mentality to love and serve Krishna, my actions don't are called akarma, and they don't produce any fruits. So I my sadhana, my old fruits are destroyed, and uh, by by acting in Krishna consciousness, my no new fruits are produced. Therefore, I am becoming free from the bondage, and I can, in this way, I can live happily in this life and this body, and live with Krishna and enjoy eternal blissful life after giving up my body. This is best possible outcome of human life. This is best possible outcome of human life. So we will continue to remind you all for joining Japa session in the morning and reading sessions in the evening. Please do that. What we'll do is we'll now wait for some question and answer. So we saw, so we discussed about the concept of soul, the science behind soul. Just didn't go by the scriptural words. We saw those as well, but we also relied on the empirical evidence, the factual evidence that is verifiable and available with us, which take us to the conclusion that spiritual sparks exist, and they are not only there, they are core identities of ourself. If we know that, we will have ability to act according to this knowledge. If we forget that, we will act at a bodily level and will get caught up into the cycle of repeated birth and death. So, having come to the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we should always remind ourselves daily of our identity. Now, this is not knowledge that you have to learn once and forget. You have to learn this, remind this daily, and daily we get, while acting at a functional level, we may get caught in our functional identities. We may forget about our spiritual identity. Therefore, we need to chant daily in the morning and hear something about Krishna daily in the morning. Also, we need to read something in the evening, so that after having gone through the day, we should end our day with the reminder that I'm spirit soul, I'm part and parcel of Krishna. My job is to love and serve Krishna. That should give me happiness. I should not have any other dependence on happiness anywhere. So with this, uh, we should end our day, and we should start our day and end our day in this way, and thereby we can have constant remembrance of Krishna. So we'll conclude this session, and we'll wait. We'll see if there are any questions and answer questions by anyone. If there are any questions, you can raise hand, or if there are no questions, we can conclude today's session. Okay, are there no questions? It seems so. We'll conclude. So we'll continue with the discussion of themes from Bhagavad Gita. As probably would have seen, we've just picked up 2-3 verses from Bhagavad Gita, and we dedicated entire session for that, those 2-3 verses. And we can continue to do that. We'll pick up different themes from different verses in Bhagavad Gita. We'll deal with various questions that are that can be discussed with reference to those verses, and more from practical point of view. So that we can uh, we can try and get maximum out of the Bhagavad Gita for ourselves. And with this, I think let's end today's session. जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि हरि बोल, Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's session. Hare Krishna. We'll see you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you
Hare
so much
Krishna,
for a
Prabhuji.
wonderful
Dandavat
enlightening
pranam. Thank
session.
you so much.
Prabhuji, the timings will be same.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
The timings will be same,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji,
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna
Pranam.
Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Yes, Mataji, timing
Hare
will
Krishna
be same.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
We wish to keep the same slot, 11 to 1.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Dandavat pranam.
Thank you so much. That was Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Tata, tata.